3.3 Part 2. Anxiety management. So examples of anxiety management would be meditation or deep breathing, mental rehearsal, so visualizing yourself being able to do a skill. So for example, players could imagine themselves scoring a penalty in football. Being confident, so focus on what you can do rather than focusing on negative thoughts and focusing on what you can't do. Paying attention to relevant cues during a game, so rather than your mind wandering off to irrelevant cues such as the crowd, you're focusing on the game, making sure you keep calm, making sure that you've warmed up, biofeedback, positive refocus and thought stopping. So for example, with deep breathing, this will help to gradually decrease the breathing rate, which will then also help to decrease the heart rate. However, it still means that oxygen is still getting to the muscles that have just been that are still working, which helps them to continue with respiration. So this helps them to control their somatic anxiety as they are controlling their heart rate and breathing rate. And whilst they are breathing deeply, they can also be focusing on the positives of the situation. So this is positive refocus and paying attention to relevant cues. So they can be focusing on the positives of the situation. So this will then help their cognitive anxiety. However, during a game or a match, some of these techniques aren't possible as it will distract the athlete from the game. Also, you can't just stop a game halfway through to do these things. So for example, you can't stop a football game to meditate. So it's not always possible. Also, some of the techniques require expensive equipment, so the biofeedback. So some people may not be able to access this, so this may not be an effective way of managing their anxiety. Next we have stress. So stress is a psychological state that is produced by perceived psychological and sociological forces. And stress is also often linked to a negative feeling. So there are two forms of stress. So you have distress. So this is the negative form of stress. It's an extreme form of stress. It's an extreme form of anxiety or nervousness, and it's as a result of perceived inability to meet the demands. Then you have eustress. So this is the good form of stress, and it gives you a feeling of fulfillment. And this can also aid in increasing the skill level of an athlete. So there's the stages of stress. So you have stage 1, which is the same for both de-stress and eustress. So the demand is placed on an athlete in certain situations. So for example, a penalty shootout. With stage 2, this is the perception of demand from the athlete. So for eustress, the perception is positive as the athlete will see a challenge in the demand and will find excitement from the penalties. Whereas distress leads to a negative perception as the athlete feels nervous or worried about the penalty, which could lead to them messing up. Stage 3, so this is when the arousal levels for the athlete will increase. So for eustress, this will help to increase their energy as well as their motivation towards the sport. So during a penalty, just before they take it, this can help them merely focus on the penalty. They'll be feeling energy and excitement from it and really want to do well. Whereas on the other hand, with distress, an increase in arousal levels will lead to an increase in worry. So during a penalty, they'll get more and more worried as it comes closer and closer to them taking the actual penalty. So this leads on to the final stage, so stage 4. So this is the outcome of all the previous stages. So for eustress, there'll be an increase in performance. So this could be them scoring the penalty. However, with distress, there'll be a decrease in performance. This could be them missing up the penalty due to that build-up of worry. So some causes of the stress. So you can have internal stress. So this could be illnesses or cognitive anxiety, lack of sleep, or being overly self-critical. You can have external stress. So this is an environment maybe being too loud or too quiet. You can have some negative social interactions. So this could be with teammates of yours, or you can have some major life events. So maybe a death in the family or an illness within the family could lead you to becoming stressed. So you also have personal stress. So this is stress that comes from significant others, so your friends, your family, maybe even health or financial situations. You then have occupational stress, so this comes from your job. So this could be you've just recently been unemployed, or you may have a bad boss, which could lead you to becoming really stressed. You then also have the sports environment, so the importance of an event. So this could be like a final that's coming up soon, or even the uncertainty that surrounds events. So just the fact that you don't know how the match is going to turn out, who's going to win, who's going to lose, that kind of thing can cause stress. So some effects that the stress has on your sympathetic nervous system are listed on my PowerPoint slide. So the 4 that I'm going to talk about are blood diverts to the muscles to provide more oxygen, increased heart rate, increased breathing rate, and increased adrenaline. So when your breathing rate increases, this then causes your heart rate to increase. So this means that more oxygen is getting into the blood, which means more oxygenated blood is getting pumped to your working muscles. So this then links onto the blood diverts to the muscles. So blood gets taken away or diverted away from not as important areas of the body and focuses on your working muscles to make sure that they have enough oxygen so that they can carry on respiring aerobically. So linking back to my increase in adrenaline, so an increase in adrenaline will then trigger an increase in the heart rate and breathing rate. So this will then cause the chain reaction of oxygenated blood going to the working muscles. With the parasympathetic nervous system, now here's a list of the symptoms. So the 4 that I'm going to be talking about are decreased breathing rate, makes the muscles relax, decreased heart rate, and increase in digestion rate. So the decrease in heart rate and decrease in breathing rate begins once you have finished your exercise. So there will still be oxygen going to the muscles that have previously been working. However, the need for them isn't as high, so less and less oxygen will be needed to be breathed in. So this helps the muscles to relax as they are no longer working due to the exercise stopping. So because the working muscles are no longer working, they no longer need high levels of oxygenated blood. So the blood no longer needs to be diverted to the muscles, so it can go back to the not as important areas of the body. So this can increase your digestion rate as more oxygenated blood returns back to your digestive system and helps to digest any food. Some of the major stressors in sport are competition, conflict, frustration, climate, or fatigue and injury. So a competition, this could be when you're playing at a really high standard, or you could be in a cup final. The stress that the athletes could be feeling could be very high. On conflict, so this could be within your team or with your team and the opposition, which can cause you to feel stress. Frustration, so you could be getting frustrated at yourself, which could make you more stressed, or you could get frustrated with another member of your team if they are not playing up to the standard that you want them maybe to be playing. This could lead you to becoming stressed, as you may feel like you may then lose the game. Climate, so if maybe the weather is like raining and you're playing rugby, you could be getting quite stressed as you may drop the ball as it could become quite slippery. Or fatigue and injury, so this could make you stressed as if you're injured, you want to be playing your sport, but you obviously can't due to the injury, so this could stress you out. We conducted a survey to find out the psychological factors as to why people participate in sport and why people don't participate in sport. So we used 3 theories for this. We used the health belief model, the theory of planned behaviour, and the trans-theoretical model. So with the health belief model, we have the perceived susceptibility, the perceived severity, perceived barriers, and the perceived benefits. So with the perceived susceptibility, 75% of the people that we surveyed said that if no exercise led to an increase in serious health issues, that they would begin to exercise. This shows that the increased likelihood of them getting a health-related problem will cause them to exercise. With the perceived severity, 75% of the people said that they'd start exercising if they were told that their life expectancy was decreasing, or that their chance of developing heart disease was also increasing. This shows that they have a high perceived severity of conditions. However, the final 25% of the people that we surveyed have a very low perceived severity. Perceived barriers. So 75% of our participants stated that one major barrier to exercise is due to the lack of time that they have to actually begin exercise. So they don't actually have enough time to begin the exercise that they want to do. The other 25% said that the only barrier they faced was having an injury. So this was the only reason why they would not start exercising. And then finally, the perceived benefits. So 50% of the people said that they exercise to improve health and to lose weight. 75% of the surveyed people already participate in exercise for the enjoyment of it. Therefore, this means that people do exercise not only for the health benefits, but also for the social and psychological benefits. The next theory is the theory of planned behaviour. So with this theory, you need to make sure that you have your attitude, your subjective norm, and your perceived behavioural control all in line, so otherwise the participant will not have the intention to change their behaviour. So with our survey, for the attitude, so 75% of the participants said that they exercise and that they enjoy it, so this is a positive attitude. With the subjective norm, they said that 100% have family that exercise. So with this one, 75% of those 100% said that their family was very influential towards them beginning exercise. So this is also a positive area. And then with the perceived behavioural control, 75% said it would be easy for them to change, actually begin to exercise and take exercise seriously. So because all three of these are in line and they are all positive, the intent is there. So 75% said that they want to improve their health and lose weight. So with 75% of the people that we surveyed, the intention to begin exercise is there. So because all three criteria all have a positive result, it shows that 75% of the people that we surveyed are more likely to start exercise to improve health. So furthermore, the subjective norm, so the family and friends, that was the most influential factor towards this change. Lastly, moving on to the trans-theoretical model. So with this model, you have to have pre-contemplation. So 25% of our participants said that they were not ready to engage in healthy behaviour due to their dislike of exercise. So this shows that they are not ready to change their behaviour. We then have contemplation. So 25% of our participants said that it would be very challenging for them to consider even beginning a training program. However, 50% said that they'd never considered starting a regime before. With preparation, so 75% of our clients stated that it would take them less than 21 days to begin exercising once they've considered it. This could be due to others around them that will influence them to exercise. The other 25% said it would take them 28 days or more to begin. So the actions, this is actually when they begin to change their behaviour. So 75% of the people we surveyed said that they are currently active for up to 4 hours a week. So this shows that they are already trying to maintain a good level of health. Then have maintenance. So 75% of our clients said that once they had started their exercise, they would continue doing so for 3+ months. And the other 25% said that they wouldn't continue it for longer than a week. And lastly, termination. So 25% of our clients said that they would give up on an exercise program very easily, e.g. after the first week, compared to the other 75% who said it would take considerably longer before giving up, unless they weren't seeing immediate results from the exercise regime.